belong in a boat out at sea. Right away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Right away, go find a lover. Right away, somewhere all bright and new. 'Cause I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea.
Oh.
You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. So right away, go find a lover. Right away, let your heart be your guide. 'Cause you deserve the deepest of cover. You belong in that home by and by. You belong amongst the wildflowers. You belong.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Good. How are things going?
Good. Different world, but pretty good. Yeah.
Love Elliot's alien that he puts in the picture every once in a while.
It's horrifying. Like,
why is it
now this
horrifying?
dedicated space, and I'm like, why are you dragging things that haven't been out in years?
I love that one. I think it's hilarious.
It's either that or he's got a baseball in his hand, or his bat. He's got a bat there too. So
that's good.
Yeah, you should not be bringing that out.
Oh, I tell him sometimes to bring it out.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I do, yeah. I think it's funny. So it's, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes it's hard to be able to get kids to interact.
Yeah.
So being able to, and Elliot is one of the kids who always has his camera on, and it's always something that I appreciate. I'm finding it's difficult. Like as I mentioned before, there are some classes that are really good about keeping their cameras on, and it's easier to talk to them. And there are some classes that literally no one has their camera on, so you're talking to a bunch of names, and it's a really difficult thing to do. So I always appreciate that the students who have their cameras on. So some kids are getting creative with backgrounds and things like that. So
that's what we hear about, the different.
Yeah.
We heard about costumes, maybe not your class, but another class. Personality.
Yeah, it's kind of fun seeing it. It's like I said, it's been difficult trying to get to know all of them that way, but you definitely start to see some of the little the nuances with them and things like that. So it is fun. So. I play music for you guys like I play music for my students. This is how I start every class off, is with some music going. So I figured I would do the same for you guys. Normally back in my classroom, I've got a got this old stereo that I've been notorious. I love playing music really loud, and I'm like stuck in the 90s with music. So I play all my stuff that I really like, and the kids hate it. And they're always like, "Can you turn this down?" I'm like, "What? Can't hear you. Music's kind of loud." And so I had something on today. I was trying to be kind of hip with the scene with the kids, which of course I never am. And some kid was in the chat. He goes, "This music sucks. Because you need to get some better music." So I was like, okay. So then he's not even a student of mine. I was like, so tell me, what do you like then? And so I was searching through. He's got Amazon Music, and I was searching through that, trying to find something. And so I went back to some old '90s hip hop, and I was playing that for him. And I was like, is this any better? Well, everybody else was loving it except for him. So there we go. Turn that off. We'll get things going here. So there's just a couple of us tonight. We're dwindling. Either the word is getting out that I'm talk too much, or I've just gotten boring in my content. So we had a high of 55 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago, and we had 15 last week and only 11 tonight. So this is going to be either I've lost my touch or there's other things going on. So so I just want to kind of do a check-in with everybody. You know, it's one of the things that I'm trying to make sure is that, you know, I'm getting the things that you've got. I really don't have a whole lot for tonight to talk about. It's going to be kind of a quick night. But I want to make sure that I'm getting the things that you need in order to be successful with things. So do you guys have any questions, any observations of how things have been going, things like that?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Can you explain how Canvas and PowerSchool talk to each other?
Okay.
I get notifications from both, but it must not sync real time, because I can look at something in Canvas and then I'll go into PowerSchool and it's different. So any education that you can give me on the timing of the syncing, or where should we be really looking for the accurate information on assignments, for example, would be helpful.
That's a interesting one. For me, and for most teachers, I'm hoping they figure this part out, but I have my Canvas gradebook synced to the PowerSchool gradebook every night at around 1 or 1:30 in the morning. And it's an automatic sync. So whatever I put into Canvas, whatever I grade in Canvas during the day, then automatically gets uploaded into PowerSchool every night. So every morning would be the newest updated version of the grades. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Excuse me. The other thing I am trying to do, like if you got the email from last Friday when I said grades are updated. So at last Friday when I sent that out, I had everything graded that had been turned in. And so that's why I wanted you to know, hey, if you look at PowerSchool tonight right now, you're going to see where the student is currently. So since then we've had, you know, 2 more assignments that were due today that I assigned yesterday that I'm in the process of grading. So then that will change then, right? So,
yep.
And that's the thing right now is that I'm trying to get that stuff done as quickly as I can. And so I'm trying to turn that around as fast as I can by leaving comments and stuff for the students and things. So, but I will also try to always make sure that I'm updating you saying, hey, grades are updated right now. So to answer your question is, yes, Canvas and PowerSchool does sync up. It syncs up every night at 1:30 in the morning. So if you look at PowerSchool every night, like if you looked at PowerSchool every morning, you would see the most updated thing that I had graded the previous day.
So that sounds like you set that up. It's not consistent. So if other teachers have not set up that sync, then is it not syncing at all?
If they have not set that automatic sync up, then they would be syncing it themselves, and it's not an automatic thing. That's part of the reason why I make my setting that way. So then that way I don't have to worry about it. I can just do my grades, and I know that at every night they're going to update in PowerSchool.
And Power School is the official, like that
Our
is,
school will be the official grade.
okay.
Yes. And that brings up a good point as well. And it's something that I've mentioned to the students, and I don't know if I've mentioned it to you, and I don't think I have now that I think about it. So the way that this is going, right, the way that this is set up with the even classes 2, 4, 6, 8 first quarter, and then the odd classes 1, 3, 5, 7 second quarter, also means then that their grade for the first quarter also becomes their semester grade, which is determining their GPA. So where most students will get 2 quarters to average together to create a semester grade, these guys only get 1. So there's less margin of error. Is probably the best way of saying that, right? You know, so like if I had a student who, you know, like as an example, like let's say they had an 88% first quarter and they had a 94% second quarter, that would average out to, right, a 91% or whatever like that, right? It's an A minus. So they've gone from a B plus first quarter to an A second quarter, and then their semester grade without any tests or things like that would have been a 91 and A minus. So by having the 2 quarters together, there was always this room for a growth. And there was a lot of, I think there's a lot of additional learning of students understanding how school works and things like that, that especially after the first unit, I think the first quarter tends to be sometimes the lower of the quarters for the students, because it's, you know, for freshmen, it's brand new, they're coming to new high school, they got to figure the whole thing out, you know, how does everything work? And that comfort level takes a little bit of time to kind of get into what it means to be a high school student, expectations, you know, managing the homework, grades, things like that. So now they don't get that second quarter. So this is a really important time frame. And it's one of the messages that I've been trying to share with them is their first GPA is their most important GPA. They will not have a more important one than their first one. That first one sets the stage for everything else that goes on then. For students who do well first quarter and have a high GPA, then, you know, obviously they have to continue to keep doing well to keep that GPA up. For students who have a low GPA first semester, it's really hard to raise a low GPA. And that's something that, you know, and I haven't told the kids that, but I speak from my own experience of my college experience and things like that, of what I went through in having a low GPA and working through that, and what did that mean and entail, and all the hard work that went into that, and it didn't raise it that much. So trying to get to them to understand that this first GPA is so important to them. And the way that the school grading system is set up now, their first quarter is going to be basically based upon 3 grades, 3 tests. 80% of their grade is going to be on 3 tests, which really then also means then, right, if they don't do well on one of them, it's hard to make that up then, you know. And so there's a huge importance being played upon the premium of coming out of the gates and doing really well from the start, which is something that I've traditionally, you know, this is my 19th year of teaching freshmen. It's something that I've traditionally not seen you know, if I make generalities, girls tend to be a little bit more organized than boys at this age. Boys tend to struggle with the organizational part. Girls tend to be better students at this age. But that doesn't merely mean anything, right? But I have seen that the first quarter is the quarter that they tend to struggle with a little bit more, and that second quarter then becomes the better quarter because they understand how to play the game better, right? They understand the rules of each game. They know how to play each game. They understand the nuances of each teacher, right? And they've come into a comfort level with each class. That's gone. So, you know, we're starting with the 3rd week of school. The quarter ends on, what is it, November 6th. That's it. You know, I know that might seem like a long time, but it's really not. And so there's a huge premium right now on doing the daily work, getting the work turned in, making sure they've got the good habits right now of staying on task, staying focused, staying up to date with the assignments. And if they're not having a plan to get that done, turned in, I think one of the things I always tell students is that, as a parent, I want to know that my kids have a plan for what's going to happen. And when there's no plan, that's when parents tend to get a little more frustrated. And it's one of the things that I try to tell students is that if you're going to go and talk to your parents about missing assignments and bad grades, you come up with the plan and you control the situation. You control the conversation. You take ownership for what you've done, right? You say that, yes, I've done this and I've made these mistakes and I've learned this and this is how I'm going to fix the problem. When there's a plan in place, you tend to feel more comfortable about things. So I would do a check-in right now with your son or daughter and say, where are you at? Like you know them better than I do. So just where are you at in this whole picture of school? Because it's really important. And it's one thing that I don't think students understand at this point yet, how important it really is. It's something that, I can take quarters to work on. And, generally after the ecology unit, we talk about, is this where you wanted to be at? Is this where you thought you were going to be at? And from here, it's only going to get harder. So, what do you need to keep that you did from this unit that worked well for you? And what do you need to change from this unit moving forward to find better success? And so having those conversations at home and getting them really dialed in on the fact that you've got a month, there's 5 weeks, 6 weeks left now in this quarter. That's it. And that's their grade for the semester. So I know they can retake the summative tests and things like that to earn a better grade. And that's something that we're very focused in on and trying to make sure that we've figured out a plan and a process to make that work. But still really their grades are going to come down to 3 tests. And like I said, if they do poorly on one, you think about if that's a third of your grade, it's hard to bounce back from the other 2/3 then to, raise it up to where you want it to be. So that's just one of the things that I think is an important message moving forward. So I know there's a really long answer to that question. And I hope that gave some clarification as far as, how I feel about grades, the message that's being shared and sent, the importance of, obviously I want them to be doing well, but, they also need to understand that there's a time commitment right now and they're kind of getting under the crunch. So, and I've got, students who have missing work, who know they have missing work, they have missing work, so what is the plan as far as trying to get all that taken care of, along with staying on top of the new stuff that's coming in. I think most teachers now have probably kind of really gotten into their comfort zone as far as giving out work and content. And I know teachers are still trying to figure out the 45 minutes and workload and all that other stuff, but teachers are in the process right now of getting through their material. So at this point in time, the workload will only get more difficult. So it shouldn't be easier at this point in time. So as we continue.
Follow-up question to that is I will get emails from Canvas saying that a comment has been made by a teacher. When I go into my parent portal, I am not able to see that comment, which I'm okay with. Am I not supposed to be able to see that?
I'll be honest, I'm not as familiar with how the parent app works. I get notifications too about, my daughter's grades and things like that. I haven't gone through to look. I was trying to think of what do I have?
We can't see them either, just as a aside that we get the same notifications. Yeah.
I'm going to log into my daughter's account and see what I can see with it. I don't really know.
Well, don't feel like you have to do that right now. I was just making sure that I wasn't missing the functionality, which it sounds like I'm not. But if you're going to send the parent the notification, then you would think that we'd be able to see the comment. But that's okay if we can't. It's fine. And just some feedback today, since today was another asynchronous day.
Yesterday was, yes.
Oh gosh, today's Tuesday. Okay, yesterday was an asynchronous day. So my son spent 2 hours on biology. So that is just feedback for you
Yep.
on everything that was assigned. I think he said it was 4 assignments. So I'm just sharing that as feedback. I don't know if that's high, low, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. He got it all done.
Mhm.
It took him 2 hours to do everything that was assigned yesterday.
Yep.
Okay.
I purposely actually assigned yesterday as a heavier day. I put in some more review things, trying to get them reviewed for the test. So I knew tomorrow, or I knew yesterday was going to be a higher day for students. So you know,
That's okay.
yep. I'm
Thank
trying to I'm trying to make sure that they're going to be ready to take the test next week Wednesday, and I felt like they needed some more review on some things. So the things that I added in there were trying to get them to continue to keep looking at, thinking, for me to be able to see how they're doing and understanding the content and the material. And for me, the feedback is pretty important as far as being able to see their understanding of some things. So yes, I purposely made yesterday being a more difficult day. So
That's
yeah.
okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
So what other questions do you have about, hopefully that makes sense about Power School. If you don't know Power School very well, there are actually hyperlinks in Power School. So if you look at something and I think it's probably blue with a little line underneath it, that means that you can actually click on that and see more. One of the things that, especially for students who have late assignments, I'm leaving a comment in there. So you'll probably see like an M for missing, a 0 for a grade, and then it might be blue. And if you click on the blue, it'll take you to the comment that I've left. And basically it's saying, hey, I didn't get the work from you. I need to get it from you as soon as you can. And I've got office hours from 8 to 10 and 3 to 4, Tuesday through Friday, for you to get help. So I just want you to understand that I'm trying to give you the information as well in that. I will let you know that when I've got grades updated again for you so that you can again go in and see the most current and updated things. Basically, we also took a practice quiz today, which is going to show up in Power School, but it's not counting towards their grade. So you can see it. We wanted to kind of get a measure of where they're at with it. And they took that quiz on Canvas today in class. So the grade, you can see that in Power School. That will sync tonight. So tomorrow morning, you'll see that grade. It's not counting in their overall score. I'm sure some kids would rather wish it was, but it's not. So, and we did that kind of on purpose. We wanted kids to be able to feel good about taking it. They can take it multiple times. And I'm going to show you the other resources that I have there for students to be able to use and get ready for the test and things like that. So, yeah. What other questions do you have for me tonight?
I'll just share one more comment. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin. Your communication is above and beyond, I think, anybody's expectations. And it is so wonderful to know that we have got a resource and that you care so much about our kids. This, like I said, this level of communication is above and beyond. So I'm very thankful for that. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, it's, like I told you before, it's hard coming to high school again. And it's even harder coming to high school now. So there's a huge anxiety that hangs over all of us. It hangs over us as teachers. It's something that, I'll say this too, I know every teacher is working really hard. We actually had a staff meeting yesterday, and they asked us to put one word in the chat about how we're currently feeling. And 80% of the staff used stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious. I know the staff is working super hard to do the best job they can to prepare your son or daughter as best as they can and to help your kids be successful as they can. I've always tried to make sure that I'm communicative to you guys and making sure that you guys are taken care of, but I think you needed more during this time. So, I'm glad that you appreciate the time and the help, and I will always be an advocate for you and for them as far as being able to help them and things. I think another message that I'd love for you to share with your son or daughter would be come into office hours. There's 3 teachers There's me, there's Mr. Monzon, there's Miss Klepper from 8 to 10 and 3 to 4 every Tuesday through Friday. And we're literally sitting there twiddling our thumbs. Well, we're not literally twiddling our thumbs. We're actually super busy doing work, but we'd rather be helping students. And it was super nice today. I had a student come in and I got to work a little bit more with her one-on-one, and it was great. You know, she admitted that she needed some help. She had some missing assignments, and you know, she was struggling with some things. And I spent about 20 minutes just talking with her and working with her. And I told her, I said, this is the highlight of my day. Like, this is literally the best part of my day, was talking to you today and trying to get her on the right track of things. So especially as, you know, we get into we're now a week away from the test. Next week Wednesday is the ecology test. So I would strongly recommend that students are coming to office hours, popping in, getting their question answered, and popping back out, getting to all of their teachers just as a quick check-in, if nothing else. Teachers love when kids come to get help. We actually eat it up. It's one of the best things for us. And, you know, I love being able to get some work done when no one is there, but I'd rather be busy and have kids waiting and getting the help than sitting there doing nothing and getting my work done. So that'd be the one message that I would love for you guys to share with your son or daughter, is to come and get the help. We're ready. We're ready, excited to go. So there's plenty of time. There's 3 hours in a day built in to get help, which is pretty amazing. That I know not every teacher is doing that. So, you know, for us to be putting in 3 hours of time to make sure that we're getting your son or daughter the help that they need is a great thing. And I hope that more students start to utilize that. I do feel that once the ecology unit is over, what the natural thing is going to happen is that, you know, and this is what normally happens, is the students think that they're fine. They've got everything under control. Everything is going really well. I know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden they get to the test and it's not going to go very well. And now all of a sudden they're kind of playing a little catch up, and it's now the reality of, hey, this is what high school is like now. And there's some things that we need to change. And that's generally where I start my talks of, you know, if you're not going to make any changes with what you're doing, don't expect a different result. You know, if you're just going to keep the same thing that you're doing, you're going to get the same results. And if those same results aren't what you want, then you've got to be willing to make some changes to what you're doing. And if that means using a planner, coming to office hours on a daily basis or consistent basis, great. Start making some changes to see what then the effects of that will be. So I do expect that more kids will be coming to office hours after the ecology test, but I would love to see them beforehand. So that's just kind of a little shameless plug for students to come and get some help. So what else?
Can I ask another question on Canvas?
Sure.
Both my kids, so I have a senior and then my freshman biology student, they're both getting classes that they don't have this quarter. And I don't know if you talked about this last week because I wasn't on last week, but they're getting like missing assignments from classes that they don't even have. For my senior, it happens to be classes that she's taken in the past. Like I got, similar to what Kimberly is saying, that something had been graded in January from something she took in the past. Today that popped up in my email. Huh. And I reached out originally with just my son was getting it. So I reached out to his counselor and made her aware. Now I'm just kind of sitting on it because it seems like Canvas has some different weird things going on, but.
Yeah, you know, okay, here's the answer to that question. How do I do this diplomatically? So I've been using Canvas now for 6 years. I was one of the first teachers who started using it. And I even made the mistake last week, I sent a message out to all of the students who hadn't turned in an assignment. And it turned out to all of the students, that included kids in first hour and in fifth hour, who don't have me right now. And I got about 20 emails back saying, I don't even have you right now. Why did I get this message? And it was a mistake that I had made. It's part of it is And I realized why and how I made the mistake. And it was one of those things that was like, oh my gosh. So part of it is understanding the functionalities of how Canvas works. And there's some teachers who just don't understand the functionalities of how Canvas works. The one about past years is the interesting one to me, that they've had you've gotten a message from something that happened last year. I actually got one of those this last week as well, from a former student saying, why am I getting this message? And I have no clue why they got that message, because they shouldn't have gotten that message. So I don't have an answer to that question as to about last year's classes. And that's something that I can look into. The reason why you're getting messages from classes that you're going to have second quarter is because the teachers don't know how to use the functionalities in Canvas. That's the simple answer.
So it's okay for me to continue to kind of ignore, just,
oh,
I
yeah,
mean, that's what
yeah. Seriously, I like when my response back to the kids who I had emailed accidentally from second quarter, I was just like, disregard this message, forget about it. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, you know? And that's what it comes down to. And I bet, quite honestly, the teacher doesn't even know they're making the mistake. So yes, if you're getting a message from anything that's not current, prior years, prior classes, or something from second quarter, ignore it. So
even though it's saying like missing work,
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I know this is kind of off subject, but you're a really great resource.
I appreciate the question. So, you know, like I said, as soon as I did it, I was like, oh, I don't think that was right. And then like literally 10 minutes later, I got this email. I'm not in your class right now. Why did I get this message? And I was like, oh my gosh. So here we go. You know, and I got like 20 responses and I said the same thing. Yep. I'm the idiot. I screwed it up. I'm sorry. So,
okay. Thank you.
yeah. So, what else? What else do you need?
Hi, Mr. Austin. I did have a quick question. I think a couple of weeks ago you mentioned that you were buying one of those pens for your kids for the iPads. Did you find they worked well?
I loved it. And my kids love it. Yes. Yeah. Here, let me get it really quick. Sorry. Okay. So this is what I bought. It actually looks like an Apple Pencil. I bought it off of Amazon for $27. This is an Apple Pencil that I got from school. Well, actually, our department bought it. It's $90 from Apple. This one is better than this one. So the one that I bought off of Amazon, I love, because you just turn it on and it automatically pairs with the iPad. It's great. The Apple Pencil, the only thing I like about it is it's heavier. That's the only thing I like about the Apple Pencil. But otherwise, the bummer part about the Apple Pencil is, if you can see that, I have to plug it into the iPad every time I want to use it. It's got the lightning pin on it. And I have to plug this into the iPad every time I want it to pair. It's a total pain. The only thing I like about it is the fact that it's heavier. So it actually feels better in my hand. But I bought both my kids this pencil from Amazon and they absolutely love it. It's a game changer, and quite honestly, it's a game changer for me. I know that when I'm going to be teaching, I'm going to be using my Apple Pencil to write everything in Notability that I want the students to be taking notes with. So I'm excited for it. But yes, my son or daughter absolutely loves this. So I know it's a shameless plug, but boy, that company should pay me some money. But I just searched Apple Pencil on Amazon and it was like literally 27 bucks, and I got it the next day and my kids love it. So totally easy to use. Like I said, you just literally turn it on and it pairs. So
cool. Thank you.
yeah.
Does it work through the, what I'll call the thick screen protector?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
It does. Because my kids have the same iPad as I do. So yeah, it works great. They absolutely love it. And the nice thing is that, especially when you turn the pencil on, and it's like the same thing with the Apple Pencil, is that you can rest your hand on the screen like you would normally write, and it doesn't recognize the palm. It only recognizes the pen. So yeah, it's super, super nice. Especially my son was doing his math with his finger, and he's 10, but man, I could never read anything. So that's why I had to give it to him, and it's made a huge difference for him. And my daughter, who's in 8th grade, absolutely loves it. So yeah.
Do you have a brand name on that one that works so awesome?
I don't. I could look it up and try to find it again. I could just go through my history on Amazon and find it. I'd be more than happy to share it with you. Like I said, it was pretty cheap. I was cheap about it. I didn't want to buy the nicer ones. And I know the Apple Pencil is $90. I'm like, criminy, I don't need to spend $90. So yeah, it works great.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else? Good questions tonight.
Is it the $26.99 one?
Sounds
Right.
about right.
iPad compatible with Apple Pencil 2 generation?
Yep, something like that. Yeah.
All right.
It's got a power button on it.
Here, I'm
There you go.
gonna share my screen real quick. Can I do that in this meeting?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah, it's that one right there. Yeah,
So
Right there in the middle.
625, 4.5 stars, people.
perfect. There you go. That was it. $26.99. It was $27 with tax or something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, that was easy. Thank you for doing the work for me. You must know your Zoom stuff too. You shared your screen pretty easy.
Yeah, we're lots of time on Zoom.
So the only other thing I wanted to kind of just show everybody is where I've got the information to study for the test. So let me kick that out of there. No,
You might want
cancel.
this, Gray.
Here we go. Everybody can see my screen?
He's
Perfect. So the best place to go to find the study materials for a class is if they go under modules. So this is my home screen. This is where it shows up for them. If they go to modules, then from here, so the ecology unit is all right here. It's been put out by days. They actually access it from their calendar. It's much easier for them to do it that way. But what I tried to do is make this really simple is I've made a whole nother module at the bottom called Ecology Unit Test Prep. My gosh, I tried to make it as easy as I could for them. So there's this full ecology practice test. This is a huge, basically practice test they can take as many times as they want. There's different questions set into it. So they're gonna get different questions, some different questions each time they take it. And so they can take this as many times as they like. And then there's also some test review materials here. They're kind of somewhat of the same things. There's a Google Doc. There's one that they can PDF, they can put in Notability. There's hyperlinks and stuff like that to stuff. So there's that. And then, like I said, the actual practice test. So both of those things then I figured it'd be easier for the students to find if I just made it a separate module. So it's just at the bottom of the ecology unit. So ecology unit test prep. So the test is next week, Wednesday, September 30th. It'll be done in class. So we're gonna get them started and then they can just take it in class. We want them to be able to ask questions and things like that. So, yep. So there you go. That was a big thing I wanted to show you tonight, where the test prep was. So. Anything else? Wow. Okay. So I literally don't have anything else going on. I think things are going well. I think there's some students who are learning how to time manage is a big thing that they're learning right now, and we'll continue to keep needing to learn. So, and it's unfortunate that I think for some students they're going to need to And sometimes the only way that we learn is by somewhat making mistakes. And so that's the unfortunate part of things. And so it's things that I want them to, you know, I share my own story with the students about, you know, me in college, and, you know, I didn't have a very good first year of college, and I learned a big lesson from it. And so I know what it's like for students to start out struggling, and how hard it is to then try to make things up. And it's something that I don't want them to fall into the same circumstances that I had. So it's something that it's the message, that's one of the things I try to make sure that they understand and see, is the importance of getting off to a good, fast start. And especially, as I mentioned to you now, it's, you know, this is even a faster start. They really have to, if they're not on their game right now, they've got to get on their game quick. That if they're kind of just skating by on some things, skating by is, they're going to get on thin ice real quick. And so making sure that they've got some solid footing, they've got some solid skills, they know how to reach out and ask for help, whether it's from you, whether it's from me, you know, that they're staying on time, on task with their stuff. You know, that's the hard part about this whole virtual world, is that it's harder for me to know that and see that. So that's something that I think that you guys can definitely help out at home with, and see where things are at. So you can see Power School, and now you know that it updates every morning. You know, it's a really simple conversation about, you know, have you turned this assignment in? You know, the nice thing about if you're on the Parent Canvas app is that you actually can see if they've turned the assignment in. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to lie. You know, yeah, I turned it in. The teacher just hasn't graded it yet. Oh, okay, well, let me look on the app. Oh yeah, it says it's not been turned in yet. Okay, so, right, it's a really easy way to have a different conversation at home. So that's why I think it's important for you guys to know all of these things, is so that it's an easy conversation to have. So yeah, otherwise, I'm going to continue to keep doing the Motivational Mondays. You know, hopefully they're kind of liking some of the things that I'm putting out there and getting them to think about. This past week, or yesterday, was Michael Jordan's top 10 things for success. And one of the things that I loved about what he had said was failure. Failure was for him the biggest motivator for his success, and that he was also willing to fail, though. And that was the big thing, is that I sometimes find a lot of times that students aren't willing to fail. And that, as I mentioned to you before, sometimes failure can be the best motivator. Learning that what you're doing doesn't work. That's the only way that we know if things work or not, is by either you're going to find success or you don't. There's really not a middle ground in some of those things. So, you know, how that works. So, you know, I'm going to continue to keep sharing those messages with the students. When we get to our review for the test, I'll just be reviewing with my own students again. So we won't be doing that in a big group setting. It'll come back to the smaller setting just with me, and things like that. So, and then we'll start in with the cell unit, which we're excited about, because we're hoping to, we're going to be finalizing that we're going to be doing an experiment at home. So we're really excited about the possibilities of that, of trying to do an in-home experiment that's going to be a class experiment, collecting data and stuff at home. We're really excited about where that's going to go. And then I'll be teaching the DNA unit at the end of the quarter, which, as I always tell the kids, when we get to that unit, it'll probably be the hardest thing they've ever done in school to this point in time. And I still firmly believe that, considering I have even less time in trying to teach the same material. So that's my challenge, is trying to get through some very, very, very difficult, complex concepts, some technical information in an unfortunately very short amount of time. So, but we're trying to build those skills up to them. So yes, the mighty mitochondria, thank you. So that's where we're kind of coming up. And then, like I said, we'll end with DNA and protein synthesis, which they've got to be on their game for that one. So that's part of the reason why we've put it last, is to really try to help to make sure that they're prepared, understanding the seriousness of what we're doing, and how they're going to need to raise their game and their level up to be successful with that. So that's my challenge, to be able to teach your son or daughter the most difficult stuff they've ever learned in school to date. So hopefully I can do a good job with it and things go well. So we'll see. Other than that, I don't want to take up any more of your time. You guys have any more questions for me? I'm more than happy to answer, but otherwise, I'll let you go. I remember when we first started these things at 8 o'clock, it was nice and light out, and here it is at 10 of 8 and it's dark. So kind of is a bummer. I miss summer. So enjoy the 80 degrees tomorrow, and the nicer weather kind of coming up this week. So anybody got anything else for me? You're welcome. Awesome. Okay. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again next week. That'll be the night before the ecology test. Oh my gosh. Whew. So make sure you get your kids going on that stuff. So, okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Have a great week. Let me know if you
Thank
need
you.
some help, if something comes up, if you need some answers or things. We'll be more than happy to help.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Good night. Oh, what's that? I can't hear you, unfortunately, Frank. I don't know what's going on. I don't see that you were muted, but there we go. I can hear you.
All right. So my link on my messages in Canvas are not working out in for my desktop computer. They go fine on my phone, and I know I synced in with Blaze when he gave me a code, and Canvas was working correctly. But when I click on a link on my home computer, like then it goes to sign in with Google and like pick a Google account, and it's just not happening. It's giving me an error message. But
What are you trying to get into on the desktop, just out of curiosity?
so recent Canvas notifications, and then I got a list of click to view, click to view, click to view on a few different topics, or just the individual Canvas stuff that comes into my inbox. When I click on there, it goes into Google, choose an account, and we got like 3 different Google accounts on this computer.
Yeah.
No matter which one I click on, it pops up with a 403 error.
Probably what's happening, and I don't know why it's doing this, but I'm assuming what's happening is that when it's asking you to click on the link to view things, it's actually trying to get you into the Canvas course itself, which you don't have a school email for it. And so that's why it's kicking you out, even though it's asking you for your Gmail account and things like that.
Okay.
But it's not doing it on your phone, you said?
Yeah, the phone goes right through straight to Canvas app. So.
Okay. And I think probably because it's the Canvas parent app, that it must be better synced for the phone than for the desktop version. That's the only thing I can think about. I don't know why it doesn't work then that way, but if it's asking you for your like a Gmail account, it's trying to get you logged into the Canvas, the actual course. So that's why you can't get into it.
One thing I thought of just now is like I never put, maybe if I tried to download some kind of Canvas software onto this computer, my work computer, then I might, it might go through.
I don't know. It's still, I'm going to say that's probably not going to work because there was a Canvas app, but that gets you to, it just takes you to the kids' Canvas account, which we used last year, and it was really kind of glitchy. So that's why we're using the web version of it, which is why the Canvas parent app is linking that. And I think it's just probably a thing that the desktop version doesn't work nearly as well as the mobile version. So.
Okay.
I'm assuming that when Canvas created it, they created it for a mobile phone versus a desktop computer. So
Okay.
I
Um,
apologize.
and I did have Power School on my phone that I was using last year and everything, but I didn't, right now I'm solely using Canvas to check
Okay.
on assignments and all that kind of stuff. Will I get by just fine with just the Canvas app? And
You know, I'll say this. I mean, I think, you know, the Power School grade will always be the official one. So downloading the Power School app back on your phone, or, you know, accessing it on the desktop, I think you can do that as well, I think.
okay.
But getting it on your phone at least, and getting then, you know, your kids linked into that so you can see their actual grade, that the Power School grade is the official grade. So,
Okay.
and like I said, you know, the grades will go from Canvas to Power School. Once they're in Power School, that is the official grade then. So when the
Okay.
quarter ends, it'll take it from Power School to create their GPA and stuff.
Okay.
So,
I'll get the Power School going then.
okay.
Let's see. The only other thing that I've run into is sometimes I'll find a due date on an assignment, and it won't be marked as submitted, and I got to keep taking Blaze's, or I kind of take Blaze's word for it that he submitted something because he's really good on submissions, but I wasn't sure if it was an assignment that just got kind of sat in a teacher's queue and didn't get graded yet, so I wasn't seeing a grade yet.
No, so, you know, you can always, it should show up on yours that it's been submitted, but you can always go to his. And
Yeah.
when you go to the assignment, it will say submitted with a date and a timestamp. If it's not a green check mark and it doesn't say submitted with a date and a timestamp, he didn't submit it then. So
Okay.
it has nothing to do about me grading it. It just means that he never submitted it. So,
Okay.
and I can't grade it until he submits it. So,
Okay.
and I know for sometimes, you know, there's a learning curve as far as students trying to make sure that they get things submitted correctly. And I understand that. You know, we're not taking off points for that and things like that. You know, it's just, we want to make sure that students know how to get assignments submitted correctly. So, you know, as long as he can do it, and you get, like I said, the bottom of it, it's going to say, it's a green check mark. It's going to say submitted, and it's going to give you the date and the time is when it was done. That's all he needs to know then. So.
Okay. And that's across the board for all the classes.
Across the board for all the classes. Yep. If it doesn't say green check mark submitted, it wasn't done correctly then, and the teachers can't see it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.